Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to show you this geometry node setup that I created using simulation zone. So it is actually really simple. If you can already guess, it is basically letter of alphabet, A to J. I can make it A to Z, and each frame is gonna be updated, and Blender will actually spawn a different letter on each frame. If you try to do this using repeat zone, it's not possible, but I know I'm currently using 4.0 alpha. I'm pretty sure with repeat zone this should be possible as well, but I just haven't managed to do that at the moment. So if you look at the geometry node setup, it's actually super simple. So basically, if I created another one, just duplicate it at this frame, and I just keep going with it, it's gonna start respawning different letter on every frames, different seed. So the setup is super simple. I should show you how to build this from scratch. However, I want to show you the whole node tree as well beforehand. So simulation zone, geometry coming in goes into this loop. On every loop, it's going to be translated up on the z-axis. So we have this interesting stack. We can actually try rotating this as well in the z-axis maybe. So every time it's gonna rotate, right? It's gonna create nice kind of like a spiral. I don't know, I like working with alphabet. I like 3D typography and 2D typography as well, because I used to be a graphic designer. Anyway, the setup here involving some kind of loop that happens on each frame, and we started with this string to curve, and the string that's coming in, there's this something that looks slightly complicated. Basically, there's a random value for the seed that's changing every frame, and this value goes into this position, pick up from this alphabet, pick a letter, and then use that letter, and then just simply turn it into curve, fill the curve, extrude the curve, and then do the loop. Sounds slightly complicated, but let's try rebuild this from scratch. So basically, I started with simulation zone, and we need a string, right? String to curve. So by default, if we have string data coming in, let's just use a B, C, D, F, G, H, I, K, or let's up to J. Plug this into the string. So we have this alphabet. That's text. You can actually just write Twitter. Okay, we're gonna replace it with X at some point, but we can use string slice. So we're gonna slice this string into a single value, and then the position we can randomize. It's gonna need to randomize based on the length of this letter, however. So random value Twitter is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, so 0 to 6. Float, this should be integer, and we just plug this into the position. And we need to have some kind of ID. Okay, now it's working, right? Actually 0 to 6. And now we just need to put this inside the loop. Join geometry. So this goes into the geometry, you know, like we just slide it into geometry, and then hopefully if we transform geometry and on every frame, yeah, see, if we have the length of 7, in this case we just want the length of 1, and then for every frame we need to change the frame like that, randomize on every frame. And then don't forget, we also need to center the position and midpoint, and then we also want to fill the curve as n-gon. There we go. If we want to rotate, we can rotate in the z-axis. Okay, maybe, yep, something like that. You know, if we just use the X, letter X, it's gonna be like this. Okay, don't forget we can also extrude the mesh. Right, it's very simple, but it's actually pretty interesting. Oh yeah, Blender extrude is pretty weird. It doesn't close the bottom part, but anyhow, that's what we get. This is just the letter X. If you want the letter, I don't know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, up to J, maybe 10, we just specify 0 to 10 minus 1, so 0 to 9. We're gonna have random letter for each frame. You can try using the same setup, but don't use simulation input. Instead, if you use repeat zones, you will find out it might not work. Maybe in the future it might work, but I don't know, maybe a certain setup you can actually make it work, yeah, if you are using instancing. But for now, keep it simple. Just use simulation zone, and then if you want to have different ID, just pipe this out. So create a couple of random seed here, hold options, randomize this thing, randomize that, like, you know. So each one of them going to generate a different alphabet letters. And the funny thing about this, if you create the duplicates like that, it's gonna generate on the fly. Be careful, your memory might run out very quickly, so it's gonna be more efficient if you are actually using instancing. Okay, currently this is not instancing. This is the actual geometry. So what we created every frame is actually like a mesh geometry, and at some point Blender might crash depending on what data. So be careful there. A more efficient way is to use instancing, and then when you're ready to realize the instance, you just use the realize instancing at the back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a super basic repeat letters or random letters. So like I said, yeah, you can use instancing instead of just duplicating the letter, generating letter each on its every frame. So yeah, hopefully you'll find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.